Welcome back to the North American LCS. Rivington here, joined by Chris Cluey, former NFL punter. Now at the new LCS studio. You've been to our Worlds, you've been to our preview studio. How are you liking the new digs?
It's awesome. I mean, this is very much the stadium experience. Not quite the size of an NFL stadium, but you guys are well on your way there. It's pretty sweet.
And this year, obviously, everybody following the fantasy leagues, their favorite teams, maybe putting some TSM members on their fantasy league. As you said, you were a TSM household. How did you enjoy the PTL FL4 fighting against Freak and all the other celebrities?
Oh, it was awesome. The fantasy leagues were great because it gives you that incentive to tune into other games and to cheer for people. And I got to say, my man, Saint Vicious, trolling everyone by running into fountains at the end of games. Saint, I hate you so much, but keep it up. It's awesome.
A lot of love in the air right now. Now, to the item at hand, Team Solo Mid going up against Team Impulse. What are you thinking right now, and what do you think about the first game that just happened?
Well, I think that Team Impulse came in with a strategy that TSM wasn't quite ready to prepare for. The TSM really wanted that kite game, and instead Impulse said, we're going to fight over these objectives, deal with it. And TSM simply couldn't do it. So I think they're going to go back to more of their standard picks. I think you'll probably see Bjergsen on either LeBlanc or Zed, and then they're going to force Impulse to react to them. They don't want to have to react to Impulse.
So what you're saying is you still have faith in the Bay Life?
Yes, I still have faith.
All right, we'll see if that controls and goes through for Team Solo Mid. We're going to throw it over to the guys at the analyst desk to start off game 2.
Thank you, Riv. We are heading into our second match between Team Impulse and Team Solo Mid, and you heard Chris say it there, TSM not able to fight over those objectives, and he's looking for them to be more proactive, as we kind of mentioned already. But now I want to get into how they do that, because it seems like they are far behind in the meta, as you mentioned before, Doublelift, an arbitrary 3 numbers of metas behind. And normally that's something that you would have liked to have seen fixed in practice. Now you have 15 minutes between games. How do you do that?
Well, I don't think Darius can just randomly change playstyles, actually, and just learn this in the span of a best of 5. So what I do think, though, is Bjergsen and Wild Turtle need to step up and understand their roles in this meta. I think that with a top laner that is unwilling or unable to play these sorts of really carry top lanes with Skirmisher's Saber, Wild Turtle should stray away from the more utility-focused AD carries. That is like Sivir and Corki. He should play a hyper carry to deal with this threat later on, and Bjergsen should play a playmaking, aggressive, or like dive-heavy mid laner, and not Urgot, because if they don't have any proactive moves or strategies, they're just going to fall behind and get slowly, I guess, suffocated by Rush. So they need Bjergsen to be able to carry the early mid game and then have Wild Turtle play late game insurance.
Yeah, and in the super early game, Santorin is getting suffocated by Rush and the entire team of TIP. I talked to Santorin earlier online, and he was extremely confident coming into this game, and he told me he likes to visualize Rush's jungle route and try to cut him off. But that was a completely different jungle route than you would normally expect because of the double jungle.
Yeah, and also because of the 2v1. I feel like Nunu is the cornerstone of the 1v1, 2v2 normal lane jungler, because Nunu wants to invade the enemy jungle solo. It would really throw Santorin off that TIP forced the 2v1 with Nunu jungle, and he was like really confused. His starting path was extremely off, and then Rush just completely crushed him from there.
Yeah, and Rush, man, I absolutely love this guy because he's showing that jungle tank meta is just an item. It's not a play style for him. He's like, I got Cinder Hulk, and I'm just going to play my game still.
Yep. We know how much you love Rush.
Yeah.
So Rush, we're looking for him to continue to be aggressive because he is definitely a playmaker for that team in that he puts a lot of pressure on the map. With the other players, though, if Bjergsen is to step up, does that point to Zhao having to move into a position of being able to carry hard from the mid lane and counter that?
I don't think so, because Vladimir and Karthus are pretty meta right now. He just picks a farm champion, sits back, and Bjergsen can't make any plays on him. And then Bjergsen has to roam. But if you have this TP Shyvana running around in the jungle as well, the early plays are kind of cut off. That's my take on it.
And the way I view these teams is TIP has Rush and Impact to really carry the game home. And for TSM, it's really always been Wild Turtle and Bjergsen, maybe a little bit of Lustboy. But these are the 2 players of each team that really need to step up and understand what they need to do to make their team work.
Right, so Zhao just do what he does best, get those farming pants on. And
he never takes them off.
Yeah, exactly. What am I thinking? He never takes them off. The teams are about to head into Champ Select, so we're going to throw it over to the caster desk. On the way, Impulse's coach Fly says he's not immune to feeling the pressure before a game, big or small.
저는 큰 경기가 아니라도 그냥 경기 전날이면은 좀 잠을 잘 못 드는 것 같아요. 저는 뭐 이번에도 큰 경기인데 좀 당연히 떨리고 좀 많이 걱정을 합니다.
It's pretty funny because Rush definitely does not get nervous at all. He was in the champion lobby before the game, and he added 4 bots for his team, and he was like, I'm ready, guys. 4 bots. Best team I've ever had. He's in very good spirits.
Meanwhile, everyone else is flaming each other in Danish. That looks like Lustboy learned a little bit in the TSM house, so he's talking about people's moms and stuff. It's pretty good. Overall, I think these teams ready to go. Seems like they're pretty loose and ready to rock in this one. Once again, Santorin not allowed Sejuani. Impact not allowed the Rumble.
We also have to mention that they are going to be on these sides of the map for the next 3 games. TSM had map choice in maps 1, 3, and 5, and they elected to do red side game 3. So whatever happens in this game, it'll be more difficult to adjust to the pick ban phase in a drastic way throughout the series. TSM as well. They do pride themselves very heavily on mid-series adaptation, so they're expecting whatever adaptation they made from the first game to be really good, and they want to keep doing it, I feel like.
Speaking of that adaptation, I really do like what Impulse are doing on the blue side, switching over and banning out the Sivir, because that's been a huge part of TSM comps when they try more focused strategies rather than the kiting back split up.
Sivir not something you
and they're
typically
not first picked. So yeah, exactly. They're not first picked. So
now, interestingly, this leaves the Twisted Fate open, but right away it's going to be the Urgot pickup here, likely for Xiao Xiao. We talked about picks and bans being left open. Hecarim was could have been up for TSM, but not.
This is pretty funny, just because normally in best of series, you ban away what beat you, and then you pick away some of their champions. Whereas Impulse, ban away what you won with, and pick away what you beat, is what they've done so far.
And it just goes back to Xiao Xiao. In the first game, so many mid laners are just unwilling to play against Urgot. A lot of teams just ban it out when they're on the red side. But not only did he have Impulse not ban out Urgot in the first game, he didn't even build armor in the laning phase. And he was just like, okay, whatever you got, Bjergsen, let's go.
And he survived the lane. He got up in CS because of a gank from Rush, and life was good. You're seeing, though, Team Solomid are switching up their picks and bans a little bit here. Looks like we're going to see Gragas versus Santorin with the other junglers left open. Rush, though, still to play Nunu, and a lot of this champions still the same for Impulse.
Tank team coming in pretty strong here. There's also a chance that Apollo could be playing Urgot. Urgot's a mid laner or an AD carry, and they still have the ability to flex that if they want to.
Very true. TSM also very flexible themselves with the Lulu pick. Now, I would not want to see Bjergsen on it because that would cut off one of their biggest strengths, but technically, they could still flex it.
All right, well, late game insurance is going to be here. Thresh picked up for Lustboy, going to send Lulu to a solo lane for sure, and the Jinx is here for Wild Turtle, so Death said late game insurance, and here it is.
Yeah, I also do really like the switch over to Gragas here for TSM, because you know that Impulse are going to just charge at your face, right? So splitting them up. We saw how effective Meteos ults were with Gragas yesterday. When you can split the team in half, it's very hard to do, but if you can split the team in half and get the damage on the backside and pop somebody forward, if you've got a Lulu buffed Jinx, then you can make quick work of the front line.
Well, we'll see if that front line holds up right away. Last 2 champions committed is going to be AD carry Urgot and top Kennen, I'm guessing now, for Impact versus we expect Lulu, but the Karthus does come through for Xiao Xiao.
Something that they've been keeping in their back pockets ever since they broke it out in the LCS in week 7.
Yeah.
That is...
Or is it a... No.
Yeah.
Top Nautilus, support Kennen. I feel like that's not the way Impact wants to do it here. Team Solo Mid now to make their last choice. We know it's going to be a solo lane Lulu somewhere. And Lustboy is scaring me by hovering top laners.
Well, so it's probably going to be back to basics here for TSM with Dyrus on a supportive top, Wild Turtle on a hyper carry threat, and then Bjergsen on a playmaker. The question will be, can he make the plays against a passive farming Xiao Xiao?
Yeah. A lot of this right now, to me, is hinging on an amazing Gragas ultimate knocking Kennen and Karthus back. Gragas has been one of the very strong counter picks to Karthus for a long time, but now he's got so many AoE charging people he's trying to knock back out of the team fight. You know, is he going to be able to get both of those with one ultimate? Seems like it'll be very difficult.
Yeah, definitely going to be a bit of a threat. Of course, you still have the Nautilus ultimate, the follow-up from Kennen. Maybe you land the stun before he can drop the ulti off with this one. And definitely a bit of a threat. Now, this is a slightly less mobile team from Impulse. There's no Sivir anymore, so the disengaged tools of solo mid will be a bit stronger. And as the Des mentioned, they wanted a proactive threat on Bjergsen. He gets Ahri now.
It's a far more TSM-like team composition for these guys. Wild Turtle and TSM were the early adopters of Jinx in the LCS, and it has shown success for them pretty much every time they've played it, as well as Bjergsen already having success with Ahri against Impulse in the regular season. It is a playmaking type team for TSM that they should be very comfortable with.
Yeah, it does put pressure on Bjergsen, though. They need him to get a solo kill on Xiao.
Well, he's done it before. We'll see if he can do it against Karth as an assassin mid laner versus one who just wants to farm and has basically no kill pressure.
Yeah.
But, you know,
That ultimate, though, he's going to hit level 6.
Cross-map kill pressure, though.
I mean, with how much Rush runs around the map and tries to make things happen, I think Requiem is absolutely useful here. We'll see if there's maybe some charm outplays on the backside of that one. Either way, guys at home, who do you think's going to win? Is Team Impulse going to build on the momentum in Game 2? Let us know. Send your picks for this series with either hashtag TIP win or hashtag TSM win to @LOL Esports. We'll be updating the fan vote shortly. It'll be in the bottom. During the game, there'll be pretty numbers. There's going to be some blue, some red. Guys, here we go. Game 2, Impulse up 1-0. TSM looking for a comeback.
We talked about TSM having a team comp that is very TSM-like. Impulse is just changing total strategy, it seems like, between games. This is a very impulsive-looking team composition where they can really work around Impact's strength in the top lane if he gets ahead of Dyrus, and use Rush's ability to start fights to maybe just pressure and try and steamroll through the map. It is a very grouping-focused team right here from Impulse when we get into team fights. A lot of circles on that Team Impulse team of damage.
I'm just, in my mind, not sure it will work. TSM with a lot of kiting tools. Ahri ulti, Gragas ulti, Lulu, even Threshbox helps a lot. So we'll have to see how this does get played in the team fights. Eyes on Bjergsen, you guys mentioned. Eyes on the Gragas ultis as well. Early level 1s is just a defensive line of wards. The wards get their feet wet. I actually like, by the way, that the warding totems, they're kind of like little plants. So it's nice that the players put them in the river so they can grow big and strong and absorb water from the ground.
Is that so?
Yeah. It's really kind to the players.
It doesn't rain on Summoner's Rift ever anymore.
It's true.
Or snow. That's kind of sad.
Climate change has been halted.
Minions have spawned.
Ice caps not melting. All is well.
No global warming in Summoner's Rift.
Nope.
All right, another defensive line of wards here for TSM, though, as you mentioned. And this time around, it looks like the swap will be called, as both AD carries starting up on the top side.
Interesting. Okay.
Supports soon to follow.
Looks like a bit of a leash. Wild Turtle going to help out his jungler. No big deal. A couple more autos. Oh, Adrian's here. What up?
Oh, Adrian has walked into some friends.
Unless Boyd doesn't even try hitting him back. He's like, yeah, just get away. It's fine, some damage.
Well, this scouts the open very clearly of Santorin, which...
Rush is like, Santorin, you're topside, huh?
And the blue if he goes.
Funny thing about that.
Yeah, he started red buff, actually. Rush without a leash. Rushes the red buff down. Did use smite, but he's going to go for this blue right now.
This is a total predictive game right here from Santorin, though, and it would be a very risky guess for him to then try and invade the enemy blue buff. So this is a very real possibility of Rush getting some powerful counter jungling in on Santorin. I wonder if he's going to take even more camps than just the blue buff. Santorin's trying to rush over there.
Yeah, I actually thought Santorin might do the 3 red side jungle camps, then go crab to get health back and go for a gank, but since he's heading over to the blue side,
where
Rush
did
gains
Rush
advantage.
Santorin vision.
He's got smite on both sides, so who's going to win the smite war? It's going to be Santorin.
Pretty big. He hit level 3 off that. Now he can rush and kill him.
And Dyer's helping with Glitter Lance as well. 300 health flash used, but here comes Santorin as well. Impact doesn't have any AoE on this one, and Rush will go down. First blood to Santorin.
Impact going to take a little damage on the exit as well. Rush staying a bit too long in the enemy jungle this time around. And we finally see the flip side of the aggressive play.
Live and die by the aggressiveness of Rush right there. And he was going for the home run. He already stole the blue. He was hoping to steal the Gromp as well. If Santorin had not been able to close that smite off, he would not have been able to get that kill because Rush would have been the level 3. What an insane change of events.
Santorin also saw the red buff on Rush, but still went toward the red buff. So a little bit of wasted time there as he passes through the mid lane. But now they're looking to keep up the countering jungling here, and they're headed back into Rush's jungle. Santorin body slams fearlessly over the wall because it is their strong side now.
Hook lands,
He
Blade's
has
gonna
no flash.
follow. The choppers as well. Rush has nowhere to go in this one. Body slam hits the flash from Adrian to buy some time. Summoner heal by Apollo. Exhaust comes in, TPs as well. Santorin now on the wrong side of this fight. He does not have flash right now, and Lustboy gonna get chased down. Wall of Pain and a Q from Xiao Xiao to get the kill. Down goes Santorin, and Wild Turtle slowed by the inhibitor turret. Who's gonna get him?
Dyrus literally just teleported back to lane as well.
Oh, God.
So that's why Impact showed up, but not Dyrus.
So, let this be a lesson to everyone. Invading junglers is a dangerous game. It's backfired now for both teams when they're trying to make a power play. The main difference right there is the fact that Xiao Xiao had the lane in a place where he could roam back into the jungle and Bjergsen could not follow.
His jungle.
Yeah, it's his own jungle. When Lustboy landed that hook, it seemed like a great idea, but you could really tell Impulse had this plan.
Look at Dyrus. He teleports right now from the base.
He teleported after?
Yeah, he teleported after Impact started channeling his teleport. So that could have been an answered teleport as well. But they decided that the mid lane roam was too much, and they couldn't salvage the situation. Because it was in Xiao Xiao's side of the jungle, and he had roamed over first, Bjergsen maybe made the call there. So might not have been even Dyrus's call.
All right. Wow. Well, be that as it may, the invade from TSM gives up 2 kills to 1, and if you want to count that a bonus death as Wild Turtle got executed, no gain on those, no XP or gold on that, so no big deal. Impact, though, continuing to pressure very heavily onto Dyrus. Even though Dyrus TP'd into the lane and had a little bit more time to get some farm here, it's a gold deficit for Dyrus.
And double buffs on Impact. Even with the level disadvantage, he's going to try and punish this. It's so crazy that Rush's early invade backfired, but then TSM gave it right back. And we're just kind of back into the game. Rush is behind a little bit now based on where he wants to be, but it's still back to an even game. Impact is really harassing Dyrus here with these double buffs.
And this is standard Team Impulse sort of style. They've got Impact on a big playmaking top laner. Smite, TP, Shyvana or not, they've got Kennen, a big damage source in the top lane here. One that will be hard for TSM to play around. You're seeing Impact try to zone this guy out.
Xiao level 6.
Oh, Requiem's up to use it really early on. It's going to be Wild Turtle. The focus, of course, his flash used now to try to get away, and it's going to let him get out.
Too late.
Well, they didn't get any kills. This is precarious, to say the least.
Already setting up.
What a game.
Yeah.
He's going to walk. Ooh! Good bottom slam. Adrian puts the shield on, but takes a whole lot of punishment. A couple more attacks. Nice anchor toss.
What is
and now
happening?
Lustboy toss the lantern for Santorin. They're going to go in. They flay back Adrian. Get excited because there's a kill for Wild Turtle. The hook onto Apollo. But in comes Xiao Xiao. Bjergsen's joined the party. And Exhaust comes onto Wild Turtle, meaning he's going to drop as well. And it's yet another 2-for-1 in the favor of Team Impulse.
Thoughts, chat?
Yeah, this game is very impulsive right now. This is not the standard type of laning phase into playmaking you want to see out of TSM in a textbook game. This is madness.
Out of everything that happened there, one of the most surprising things was that the Karthus actually got there and had a bigger impact.
He keeps walking to places before Bjergsen can get there.
And before he started walking, he had to channel Requiem. So he's standing still for the full channel Requiem and then starts walking up there.
And this is so different than the Bjergsen and Xiao Xiao we have seen in the regular season. Xiao Xiao in the regular season had the highest CS at 10 and 20 minutes, but the lowest kill participation, whereas Bjergsen had a high CS differential as well as some of the highest kill participation, so he was kind of doing both. But this time, Xiao Xiao is definitely aiding the rest of his team substantially more, both in the Orianna game and now on Karthus, with 2 walking roam kills on him.
Absolutely great play by Xiao Xiao the late season. You're definitely seeing the glimpse of what made him so great last split as well. The defending MVP. Xiao Xiao's got to feel pretty darn good about all this. Impulse sitting right now at the smallest of gold leads, 600 right here. Standard lane still. The minion farms kind of balancing out across all the roles.
Yeah, except the AD carry role. This is a big problem for TSM. Wild Turtle was level 3 when Xiao Xiao was 6. Now he's 3 levels behind. the mid lane, and just now hitting 5, where Apollo's almost about to level up on him. And Urgot used to be known as an 80 carry killer, not an 80 carry for himself. Add that to the fact that Wild Turtle is supposed to be the late game threat. This dude's sitting on 37 CS, 9 minutes into the game, with 2 Doran's rings. He is not going to carry the game.
He didn't go as far as to get rings, but...
Yeah, sorry, Doran's blade.
That would be a little excessive.
I can't even hit him. I gotta use my EP ratio on flame choppers.
Choppers.
Great. Maybe he ran AP Masteries, the Spellblade, helping a little bit. Either way, Rush now in the enemy jungle. Where else would he be? Clearing away a pink ward, wants to deny some of this vision. Right now, there are no lanes to gank. There is a dragon on the field, and Impact is winning the bottom lane, but I don't know how soon it's going to be taken down. Right now, Impulse just playing a strong laning phase. Bjergsen is unable to push around Xiao Wei Xiao, so Karthus farm. So far, so good, I guess.
The other thing about Turtle being so underfarmed is Turtle is the attack damage threat. Everybody else is magic damage for this TSM team. If Turtle is sitting on double Doran Blade, then Nunu can build pure magic resist, get that Aegis early. Already Impact is going with... Darius seems to be caught here.
Flank in from Adrian. There comes a bunch of Acid Hunters and good pullback, but a flash by Darius will buy a little more time. Pops the ulti on. Absolute zero out of the turret, brings his health to almost the same number, and Apollo gets the kill.
And now we want to watch the other version of this. Impact snuck away from the turret, and TSM doesn't see him there.
You are kidding me.
And he's soaking experience this whole time, too.
Oh my god, he's going to recall. All right, turret's going to go down.
He might actually... Oh no. If Wild Turtle walked back towards him.
Turret goes down. Oh, goes up towards Dragon.
Dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
The mind games right now.
Oh, man. All right, but TSM, they're looking for a Dragon off this one. Of course, they pressured the bottom lane. They got the turret, and Impulse did not, by the way. So it's a kill versus a turret and looks like a Dragon right now. So Team Solo Mid, I think, getting the better of that overall trade.
Dragon control against Nunu, extremely important, as we've already seen in the first series. So very good start, yes, for TSM there, just to get the first one, not only for the percentage bonus that will actually not have a big effect for a little bit longer, but looks to be an answer.
No
from
flash
Impulse.
on Lust Boy.
Oh, he missed though, but Wild Turtle's going to be in trouble.
Matter.
So is Lust Boy. Backwards play. Zap helps, a nice ulti from Gragas, but it's still pretty close. Summoner heal used. In comes Requiem. One last Ice Blast gets him the kill. Xiao Wei Xiao not required. Requiem, no assist.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that Ice Blast. It would have actually been better if Rush didn't use that, but because Apollo did the last Acid Hunter, it ends up being a bit of a wasted Requiem. And overall, these trades, even though they look very advantageous for Impulse, like getting the kill onto Dyrus, didn't necessarily help them out on a team. They heavily commit on the bottom side, losing turret pressure mid. They've already lost the turret bottom lane. If TSM can make up for these early deaths by getting turret pressure and then gaining map control, they wouldn't be that far behind.
I mean, they really need the mid turret to go down if that's what it's going to take for Bjergsen to start roaming. Because Bjergsen has to affect this game. Once he takes this turret, TSM can open it up, get some ward coverage around the mid lane, and hopefully for TSM's sake, Bjergsen can use his Spirit Rush and actually get a kill somewhere.
And he has knocked that turret down. And we mentioned the other members of TSM real quick. Dyrus, despite getting bullied around a lot, is completely equal with Impact in CS here. So, okay, there we go. All right. Skill shots against monsters, It's a taste of what jungles have with
Duke's
Scuttle
better
Crab.
than most players, apparently.
We saw people
Slowly one
flashing
direction.
on the Scuttle Crab yesterday, so this
true.
is the least of the neutral monster jukes.
It's crazy that Impulse is down 2 turrets to 0, but still up in gold because of their 3-kill advantage. This means there's a lot of unclaimed gold by Impulse on the map, so if they get any other kills and can somehow transition those into objectives, it will kind of leapfrog TSM in gold a little bit.
Well, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of risk of Impulse breaking this game wide open, but at the time, Team Solo Mid can maybe consider themselves in the driver's seat. Top lane being pushed around a little bit. Bjergsen really wants to make something aggressive happen. They know blue buff has been taken, but they still want to invade over here. Maybe they... Oh, nice wall of pain. Xiao Wei Xiao sniffs it out. And this pink ward will be killed off. Okay. Let's see. Ward goes down. Crowd's excited. Yeah, we know. Wards are exciting. It's how you win games in League of Legends. If only people in solo queue were so excited about them, I'd win a lot more games. And Rush gets himself a red buff.
Definitely seems that way. The early game of this match being insane. And Impact's...
Can he make another escape? He's got flash.
4 people this time.
Early flash out his charm and flay. Really nice play.
But again, a turret. Every time TSM provides pressure onto Impact, they are getting turrets for Wild Turtle to take down. With that commit right there, Impulse wants to take 2 turrets for it.
Well, bot lane adder does go down to pretty much just Apollo down here. Dyrus not able to defend. Mid lane pressure now the question as well, but there's no damage on it at all. Instead, Team Impulse heading over towards the blue buff to steal it. But top lane tier 2 is getting hit right now.
So Bjergsen makes his first real roam, and they get out-traded on turrets, they lose their blue buff.
Yeah.
Not the best first roam.
They got a flash for it, but you definitely got to consider Impulse got more out of this.
Yeah, you have to give a lot of credit to Impact.
Yeah.
As far as the top laners go, being left on their own, hey, deal with your own situation. Impact keeps finding ways to survive.
You got to kill in the other side jungle and then dodge 2 ganks.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm a pretty big fan. All right, so it's just a small 400 gold lead once again for Team Impulse. The kills haven't changed in a while. The turret kills have been trading back and forth, 1 for 1 a couple of times here.
And Wild Turtle is level 7.
Oh, bro.
So first off, he's support level. Second off, he's not looking at his screen when he walks out between bushes. Those are both big problems for TSM. And it is overly so on Bjergsen priority rise right now. He is the only level 11 member, the only person who has double digits for levels on TSM. Whereas Impulse has threats from many different angles. This is almost too much for Bjergsen to take on. Either Dyrus or Wild Turtle or Santorin need to start making some plays for the team, because Impulse is focusing so heavily on Bjergsen. Instead of getting damage on the mid lane turret, they took blue buff because they wanted to make sure that Bjergsen could not get that 2 pressure.
And it seemed like so far they're keeping him from doing very much here. The minions farm honestly fairly close. It's in the 160s for both mid laners, so Xiao, of course, is keeping up. TSM, to their credit, are pushing in mid first, so they can actually dictate where Xiao goes. But even with Xiao staying in mid after Bjergsen, there's still nothing happening from the TSM mid lane. It looks like now pressure is going to be on the bottom side of the map. The red buff getting a few wards here. And Dragon, of course, up in 37 seconds, so Team Solo Mid may be looking at Dragon number 2, and this is what their goals are.
Using Fog of War, if they have vision control in the Dragon area, to allow Bjergsen to land a charm, and then splitting people up in the Dragon Pit with a Gragas ultimate would be a way for Team Solo Mid to get back in this game. It's all about whether Impulse can prep this Dragon properly and approach from the right angle to not get separated from Gragas. This is a really good spot for TSM to fight, and they are there before Team Impulse.
Ooh, Impulse sniffs it out just a little bit and says, you know what, let's go mid lane. Oh, we see some of TSM, the sweeper. Lets him spot a couple of TSM first before they go on in. Wave clear from the side. Bjergsen takes the snowball.
While both top laners do have teleport, Impact does not have flash, which is a huge part of the Kennen ultimate.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to have a really good teleport. The placement of that ward inside the brush.
Oh, Charm's going to hit a lot of damage. Zap misses, though. Couple of crucial damage not hit there by Wild Turtle. Team Impulse, though, not willing to stay in the mid lane. Out they go.
Yeah, this is TSM using their map control right now from taking that mid lane turret earlier on in the game. One thing they do have going for them this game is that Dragon control, so we'll see if this forces a fight.
Team Impulse once again going to walk forward, hook onto Adrian, one of the tankiest members on the team. In comes the box, a lot of damage. A 4-man knockup from the ulti of Nautilus, and here comes Requiem. No one will stop this one. Ulti right off the bat towards Dyrus. That teleport was fatal for the TSM top laner. Bjergsen now trying to run away. Looks like nothing happening for the Apollo ulti. It was knocked back by Santorin. A 1-for-1. Good juke on the charm.
Bjergsen out of mana. They cannot continue with this Dragon fight.
Tense Dragon fights right there. Dyrus not picking a good spot to teleport into. Impulse easily able to pick him up a kill, which equalized that fight greatly. Credit to Santorin for saving Bjergsen with that Gragas ultimate, but outside of that, it was a kill trade, mainly due to Dyrus' poor TP positioning.
Yeah, teleport fit for a Maokai or a Sion, not one for a Lulu. Great reaction, of course. Impact the immediate ulti on one man to know he'd get the kill.
It's time to cancel your TP when that happens, man.
Absolutely agree.
No flash necessary. We're right next to each other. All right, here's the return to the Dragon. Still up.
No Karth Assault this time. All ultimates actually down for Impulse.
Oh, a lot of damage. Impact is nearly going to die, but Bjergsen cannot chase it out. Into the back lane goes a whole bunch of pain, and Dyrus one hit away. Wild Turtle chased down by Rush. The exhaust and the heal to keep him alive a bit longer. A nice hook from Lustboy gets the kill to Wild Turtle, and it will be the Dragon picked up, but Impulse on the runaway.
Oh, they're going to have to worry about Bjergsen cutting them off.
Walloping by some time, hooks in.
Bjergsen has flash, but no ult.
Charm hits Apollo, down he goes!
The ult's coming up real soon for Bjergsen. I think it's up! He's going for it!
Dodge! He tries to get impact, he will! A 3-kill fight for Team Solo Mid. As payment for Dragon, they're back in this.
There's the plays from Bjergsen we were looking for. Picks up a couple of kills. They did lose the Dragon. Now, I think that Team Impulse have to change their style up a little bit due to the team that they've drafted. Kennen is one of the most ult-reliant champions in the game. Really, really weak without the ultimate. Plus, Karthus, a very long timer on his ultimate. Hard to go for that team fight again without those coming up. As you said, Bjergsen's ultimate comes back up while they're still fighting.
Yeah, and Impulse, all 5 champions on their team are without ultimates right now. Dyrus still had his, which is one of the things that delayed that fight a fair bit. Additionally, when Wild Turtle got that kill, it was a shutdown kill onto Rush, a substantial amount of gold that can make him a bit more of a carry threat moving into late game.
Yeah, Rush also has to change his play style. He went for the flash back rub there with Nunu. Doesn't do a lot of damage, flashing in for auto attacks with that champion. He's so used to playing all these duelers.
Yeah, the Ice Black is starting to get outscaled, I guess. Not buying ability power, so the damage output doesn't grow anymore. Wild Turtle finishing the Infinity Edge off that is going to be quite nice, and all the attack speed you get for being Jinx means an uncontested Wild Turtle has really high DPS in a team fight here. Team Solo Mid definitely in the driver's seat now. What can they do with this lead they've got? So far, Impulse still getting a couple waves pushed in.
Yeah, the biggest thing TSM needs to do is maintain map control. I think keeping the mid lane turret alive for them is paramount. That's where they've been able to get most of their action off of. When they're fighting around the Dragon, having that turret to retreat to is incredibly important, and it also just makes sure the waves stay slightly on the side of Team Impulse.
Yeah, they do need good vision to set up either picks for Bjergsen or that Gragas ultimate. That's going to get even more important the stronger Xiao and Impact get. The longer this game goes, the more TSM will rely on the knockback.
So a lot of growth for these somewhat melee mages in a way, right? The circle spacing yourself, the Kennen ultimate, the Slicing Maelstrom, the Defile from Karthus. As they scale, as they get more damage, the counterplay still always exists for Team Solo Mid.
Wow, good reactions there to be able to dodge Charm from Fog.
Oh, that one's going to hit, though. Adrian down to half health already. Wall of Pain comes out to buy some time. Anchor's not going to kick either. Pearson down to half, though. Good damage from Apollo.
Much of this will also come down to Santorin and his ult placement in team fights. It is a team that he needs to split up perfectly. He has to send Kennen out. He has to pull Urgot farther in. He has to send Karthus out. Sometimes he can't do all those things with one Gragas ultimate, but if he can split the team fights in the proper way, it could mean a pretty decisive win for TSM, since Impulse needs a lot of their people to be in one place, and they don't have many ways around the Gragas ult. It has to do on Santorin's ability to land that skill shot in the right place.
I want to see once this game, Impact or Xiao flashing the other side of it to get knocked in, and then being called gods. That'd just be fun to see. We'll see what happens or not. Either way, outplays are always fun to see in the playoffs. Either way, Team Solo Mid looking good with a 1,600 gold lead for themselves. They're even fighting inside Impulse's jungle. Top lane tier 2 under fire. Mid lane already got pushed out. Apollo on the other side of the map, and then Santorin even clears away some jungle camps.
Yeah, I mean, Apollo's on the wrong side of the map. The map pressure continues for TSM. I don't see how Impulse saves this turret.
Yeah.
They're not gonna.
Going, huh? Team?
Question mark? My wolves died.
Apollo realizes that he is on the wrong side of the map, and since the turret's forfeit pretty much at this point, there's no way he's making it over there. One more wave for him. Let's see what he completes on his back, though. That's the Hex move.
Alright, so worried of the magic damage threat of Gragas and Ahri, although this time Wild Turtle, as you mentioned before, got that shutdown, so the physical damage threat does exist once more. Of course, Apollo will be getting a Frozen Heart, so just kind of varied resists we're seeing from this man. Last Whisper still not in inventory though, so the damage build still not done. Muramana Combine is through though. Just watching as Team Impulse continues to scale up with their various big AP carries and their caster AD. Wild Turtle still quite a bit away from his second big item though. He's got the Zeal, but with the second Doran's Blade, he's got another 500 gold to go on Phantom Dancer.
Yeah, this is overall TSM bouncing back fairly well from that game one. They do pride themselves on their ability to adjust, and even though the early game went in the favor of Impulse, TSM is playing the map much better right now, and they're even recovering Wild Turtle's farm. He's actually surpassed Apollo now in CS, which was not even close in the laning phase.
And that's crazy too, because it's not like they're donating farm one way or the other. There's no Impulse member who's like up 50 CS in their lane, so it's just TSM playing the map. Charm on the rush. They have to buy some time. Hook on a rush as well in the pull towards the Nunu. Able to get away.
But now they're starting the Dragon Control with Rush at half health. He's the one who needs to be some frontline zoning right here. This is a dangerous moment for Impulse. TSM getting the better of that poke engage.
Packed over the flank play though.
Does have flash.
Bjergsen one hit from stun. Dragon is alive. Dyrus has made his way down to the rest of the team, it looks like. Impulse will take Scuttler at the very least, and they're now in position for the rest of this. Impact, I think he wants to stay out for the wings. Look for the flank play. Prey on this Jinx.
So Crab speed is huge for these guys.
To re-engage, the thing is what Tip wants to do is they want to take Dragon, draw TSM in, and then have Impact flash in behind them while the Grog Assault was used for a steal attempt. But they can't take too much poke from the Dragon, and this is a tense situation.
Rush is already at half. Barrel's coming out for zoning powers. A nice Glitter Lance to buy even more time. It's 2 with it, impressively.
Good patience here from TSM. Not charging headfirst in. Able to wait it out. A little bit of extra damage dealt from Dragon there. And their pressure on the mid lane enough to draw Impulse away from the pit.
Really nicely handled by Team Solo mid. Mid lane pressure, and they got the Dragon Control. Nothing to be said for Team Impulse. Well done, TSM. Bully out the Dragon.
Very well played. It is only Dragon 2 though, so not that important for either team. It definitely does take down the threat of the Nunu stacking, but all in all, good choices for TSM in the mid game.
Gotta say, it's been great. 2,000 gold lead for these guys. Impulse had started the game out with quite a bit in their control. This game was 6 kills to 3 at one point. TSM only equal in gold because of turret kills. Well, it turns out Impulse haven't been able to get any turret kills back themselves, and Solomid have found a number of good fights. Big items coming through there. Phantom Dancer is done for Wild Turtle, so he's going to chop through squishies easily. There are no armor tanks on Team Impulse, so a huge threat here from AD carry.
Neither are there armor tanks on TSM, and the Muramon transform has also come into play.
Yeah.
Plus, Rod of Age is fully stacked for Xiao Xiao.
Okay.
Still very close.
Yeah, both these teams have a lot of potential left within this game. Apollo, if he can ever actually swap Wild Turtle in, I know they use that one swap on a Bjergsen, but if they swap in Turtle, then all their magic resist stacking matters, since he is the only physical damage threat, so that kind of becomes the priority for them in team fights, and then they might just hope to kill the other guys with all their AoE damage from Kennen and Karthus. I think that's how Impulse will want to play these team fights. It's only a matter of actually finding them. TSM are wizards sometimes of not taking bad fights and only taking good ones.
TSM trying to live up to the legacy. Oh, here goes Bjergsen looking for the solo kill. Does get the charm as he leaves with the
choppers.
Ulti, good dodge, and in comes Impact. That's going to be Wild Turtle going down. Exhaust was used on him, but either way, Requiem still hits. Bjergsen down a half. Ignite is on from Adrian. Apollo swipes to swap him in. Explosive Cask might buy just enough time. Adrian will not get chopped out. Rush flashes in. He wants it, but Dyrus with the save. Wild Growth, and Rush now 300 health. Takes a summoner heal from Apollo. Adrian still limping low.
No one from Impulse dead, but Apollo the only person with a full HP bar.
These fights are so close. Every battle's like a 2-for-0, 1-for-0.
Rush always goes for the big play. I have to credit Santorin again in that fight for saving Bjergsen with a Gragas ultimate. As soon as Apollo starts channeling that, instead of waiting for the swap to go through and knocking Apollo in for a kill, he's just disengaging straight away, and it's reliably saved Bjergsen now twice.
Yeah, too bad he wasn't there for the Impact's charge to save Turtle, as Turtle stood still to try and channel Jinx's ultimate and pick up the kill onto Xiao. Cost him his life, but also cost the flash of Kennen, which is so big.
TSM know they've removed all the ward control from Baron. They're daring tip to face check. Lustboy comes in, and goes Bjergsen as well. Charm gonna hit Adrian. That's a kill on Nautilus.
Challenge accepted.
Apollo. Goodbye. Goodbye. 2 kills picked up. A hook on a rush as well. Be careful, Nunu.
Give TSM an inch and they will take everything from you right here. They knew they had the vision control. Their one advantage right there. They also saw Adrian was low with the ward, so they knew they could take a fight clean off, and they will continue this pressure, whether it be for more fights or for the Baron itself.
Team Impulse still wanting to try to contest this, though. It's a 3 versus 5. Wow, Xiao knocked right back into the team. Santorin is not going to take enough damage to die here, so just pick after pick after pick being grabbed here by Team Solo Mid. The duo lane will respawn from Team Impulse, and TSM give up the Baron attempt.
Yeah, there's a big wave bottom, so TSM, that's the only thing dissuading TSM from continuing to bait over and over and over. Big wave bottom, they send Turtle over there to soak that up. So this Jinx getting to the late game now already has the crit multipliers. Dyrus ready to back him up with the shields. This is looking better and better here for TSM.
We do have a series on our hands, but here we go. Let's pick on the duo lane. Adrian very low. There he goes.
Not only does Bjergsen have the Spirit Rush charges, he gets to dash with the Dyrus speed as well. Obviously, right there, Adrian missed his Nautilus anchor. He kind of panicked when he saw that speedy Ahri going towards him.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. Sivir got banned away by Team Impulse, but Righteous Glory's second item for Santorin, after his Cinderhulk and the Sightstone, gives the team all the movement speed they need to get these fights anyway. So Mid definitely looking very good here.
The veteran team looking to make finals yet again. They've made every single North American finals since the LCS began.
I mean, thinking about it, this was actually a very good semifinal last year. Of course, Team Impulse was known as LMQ. It was a very different roster, but these guys met, and it went to all 5 games, I believe, last time in the summer.
Xiao remembers.
Yeah, Xiao certainly remembers. Went to all 5 games, and he couldn't quite close it up against Bjergsen, so definitely a lot of fun in this battle. We're poised to have at least 4, but of course Team Solo Mid have a lot of work still to do if they want to win this game.
That's some speedy TSM, people.
Nice dodge there by Adrian. Righteous Glory End. It only lasts 3 seconds, unlike Sivir, so you can see he dodged the first wave and out you go.
Well, the counter wall right there from Xiao was really important.
Yeah.
Only 3 points in Wall of Pain right now, but it was still enough to just cut right through that move speed and give Adrian a chance to juke the hook.
Good jukes overall. Mechanical skill definitely here on every team here in the top 4 of the North American LCS. Team Impulse have yet to find their way back in for a while, though, as they sit 3,500 gold down.
More vision plays from TSM.
Yeah, they just look for picks over and over again. Ahri Thresh very good at this.
They know they have objective control. The mid lane turret actually still alive.
Wow.
Jinx is going to melt through Dragon here.
Easy pickup. AD carry jungler. Dragon number 3 to Team Solo Mid. 5% bonus move speed. Going to be a very big deal here.
Incredibly solid objective and map play there.
Impact breaks up the Bermuda Triangle with pink wards on Baron.
You know, I got to call out again. Dyrus completely holding up. Okay, you might have called a bad teleport or 2, but he is holding up against Impact 1v1. Equal in CS. Shows up in the team fights for the most part. You know, saves Bjergsen with the one time with the ulti. I know in pre-game on PTL, Kobe and I were like, all right, Impact, huge lead top lane. It's going to be the one big pressing point for Team Impulse. And right now, in this game, Impact is not having what his name would have you suggest.
Well, with his flash back up, he always has that opportunity. The gold is still sitting close, even though TSM has shown immense amounts of map control. Based on the gold, it doesn't look like this is going heavily in the favor of TSM, but just based on the vision control and who gets to go where they want, TSM is calling all those battles. So unless TSM makes a misjudgment, or unless Impulse really catches TSM off guard, it is TSM's game to lose at this point.
It absolutely is, and you're seeing the way they want to continue their lead and look for the win is steal the objective control game. Baron once again stymied though by a Scuttlecraft, but they're still trying to keep the vision control on this side of the river.
If TSM do not make a vision play though and pick somebody, it is getting very scary for them. The double Zonias have been completed for both solo laners on Team Impulse. And they're looking for the 5-on-5 on even ground. So it's all up to TSM to make sure they do not find that even ground. And also to protect Turtle, of course.
Yeah, you also got to remember, Santorin a lot of times will just be trying to knock people around with his Gragas ultimate if he's not just saving it for the Urgot swap. He's going to try and knock Impact and Xiao out of the middle of his team, but if they Zonias at the right moment, they will not have that disengage potential with the Gragas ult.
Or as Freak said, if they flash the Gragas ultimate
into the team and then Zonias.
Ooh, man.
Very tense.
Making me excited about this one. Don't have to be jinxed for this one. Team Solo Mid still playing around Baron, though. The Gragas wave clear actually helps them a little bit. The ability to crush down these minion waves from range is nice. Impulse, though, still really wants mid lane outer. Bjergsen standing on a ward from one of the two teams. I couldn't quite tell. But Impulse just immediately gets pushed out. TSM waits, says, all right, go one step forward, we catch you. And says, okay, push wave in, clears it back. Impulse still nothing to do.
This is as even as the ground is, but TSM just has a massive poke advantage right now. Wild Turtle able to land some nice long-range shots, and then Bjergsen, a charm or two, plus the Gragas barrels are both keeping the minion waves back and completely keeping Team Impulse at bay. That's one thing about Urgot as your AD carry position. You have very low siege.
The thing is, too, both teams have every single summoner available. So the next team fight that breaks out is going to be chaos.
It's just been so long since the last time they actually fought.
That's why everyone is just jockeying for position here, because it's all about the first pick, the skill shot to land. Thresh Hook, Ari Charm could change the name of this game.
Yeah. Well, Jat, you mentioned it sort of in game one where TSM's comp wasn't able to start fights, right? They had no engage tools. Impulses are really very obvious. It's like, all right, Nautilus ulti, which goes real slow and you can walk away from. Like, maybe you flash Urgot, but Gragas can stop, right? Gragas can disengage pretty much anyone. And so Impulse not able to start fights, and TSM wanting to play the pick game anyway.
Only wanting to start the right fight, because TSM actually does meet on even ground with Team Impulse, and Kennen and Karthus get inside their team. They're weaker in the team fight.
Yeah, so
it's a very delicate battle TSM has to play here.
Oh,
are you kidding?
Well, Adrian's on a ward. I think he knows that now.
Uh-oh.
So
couple of Impulse members in the mid lane, but TSM don't have any vision on the bottom side.
Now, Impulse are finally pressing the bottom lane as their advantage. They're like, okay, Impact, go try to push around Dyrus. You think he might be able to.
Bjergsen is also in the midst of a massive power spike. Level 16 plus a fourth major completed ability power item. He will crush people in team fights. He lands one charm on some of these guys, and he could maybe kill them before they can get off their Zonias.
Big risk. Oh, that pink ward doesn't see the ward in the back pit, but that ward is timing out in the next 4 seconds.
They know what TSM's objective is, though.
But
they're waiting it out.
For Team Impulse, they realize that they know all about this. There we go. We see Rush looking at... Nope. Not going to try.
Is there a good ward for Impact to teleport on? These ones are dropping in mid lane here.
Hook comes in, Apollo in the wrong spot, trying to get away from this one. He will survive. Santorin knocks in the team, and already the AD carry is gone. Xiao pops his Zonias, in goes Impact as well, and he flashes in. What can he find? Bjergsen fairly low, but Impact gets shut out by the hook, and Adrian will follow as well. It's a 4-kill fight. The Requiem doesn't pick up anybody, and TSM crush it.
Patience is a virtue. TSM waits so long for that pick. Finally find it onto Urgot, take him out, and there's no effect from Urgot that entire fight, so that's going to be Baron.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the places where Xiao and Impact were in that fight, and it was not near the squishies of TSM. They were able to Kennen ultimate Santorin, and Xiao was able to get some damage on him, but he is the man who wants to take that damage, getting the catch on Apollo. Freed up Wild Turtle to free hit from the back as well. That is the TSM patience game paying off.
Yeah, with how close these two teams were, that charm right there just before the minion, followed up by the hook. If you are down a man in this mid-game team fight, it's so difficult to turn it around. Even with all this area of effect, Santorin's the only one standing in it. Impact has to flash forward, but the rest of Impulse are focused on Santorin there, and he does not care. Wild Turtle gets to freely fire from the back line. Dyrus with enough shields to keep him aggressive. 4 offensive item AD carry.
All that matters, they made it to the late game. Hyper carry threat for Wild Turtle right there. Really poor early game for him, but he was able to farm enough in the mid game. The team played around their strengths at just the right times.
And Solo Mid, for playing around those strengths, have built themselves a really commanding position here in Game 2. They got 4 turrets to 2. They've got 14 kills to 8. They're wearing a Baron buff. They're up 6,500 gold. Mid lane tier 2 gonna fall, make that a 7,000 gold lead. They're not done, of course. They've still got minions coming in. Recall still coming for Impulse means they will not defend the inhibitor in time.
Yeah. Them strike back here. Looking to take game number 2. Inhibitor down. Baron buff still up, and they can just rotate right down to bottom, pick up some extra gold. This gold lead ballooning after that one team fight for TSM. Can see why both teams are taking so much time prepping for that mid-game team fights. This is the swing that you get after it.
It's also the result of all the map control TSM held for so long finally paying off. The mid lane turret outer is still alive for TSM. That's how on the back foot Tip has been this entire time. Desperation engage. They might not make it in. Here they try.
Knockups in goes Impact. Tries to do what damage he can. Lustboy nearly falls down. The Polymorph doing a lot of work, but Apollo gets Santorin. A rocket comes out the back, and Wild Turtle's going to kill as many as he can. Apollo is his second death, actually, and TSM still on the better side of this fight. The Zap nearly takes down Adrian. This will be a turret.
And maybe even more. Xiaoyi Xiao's a little bit low. There's still 4 people alive. This could be the game.
Well, that's going to be another kill picked up. Wild Turtle goes for the Zap. Doesn't quite pick up another kill, but it's going to mean the second inhibitor of this game. Adrian with home guard boots runs around really fast to nowhere. Impact, no cooldowns that are important. A charm misses, but Impact still goes down. A 4th kill, and that's the game. 41 minutes. Team Solo Mid fires back.
TSM chance coming through as they finish off the Nexus. This is why TSM prides themselves on their ability to adapt in the midst of a best of 5. Not phased by that game 1 defeat, playing a smart, calculated game.
Showing their veteran status. Down 1 game, very, very patient during the mid game. They look for the one team fight that counts and win the game off of the back of a single team fight victory.
The fact that they got so much in a 3-minute window. Baron buff was still on these guys by the time the game ended. Okay, you want a team fight, but there's still all the tier 2 turrets up, pretty much. Recall, buy items, kill the entire team over like 1.5 times and drop the base down. That's very tenacious by TSM, especially considering, Jack, you mentioned like TSM needs the right fight. They can't just rush into a battle where they get just spammed by all these circle spells and get crushed by the double AP comp. Turns out TSM could find those battles even in a small amount of time.
TSM, at least as far as the North American LCS are concerned, are the masters of disengage. Lustboy, one of the best defensive support players we've seen. Santorin really showing all that Gragas practice he's been doing, showing it off in this game. Pretty much always ulting the right people back in a fight. Not to mention Dyrus on Lulu, if he can survive that game, is a very good Lulu in the midst of a team fight. And it's going to be difficult for Impulse to actually engage on TSM throughout the series. It took 5 dragons, 6 dragons, and a Baron to do that in game 1, and they couldn't do it here.
I was actually kind of surprised that Impulse went back to the Nunu without a top lane smite character for Impact here. Rush without a buddy, you know, to actually influence both jungles early on in the game. I actually don't see them going back to this pick. Unless they again bolster it with Impact having his back.
Yeah, and Impulse, you know, they definitely have to go back to the book and back to their strategies, find out what they want to do. I do want to talk about all the big successes of TSM, though. Bjergsen actually had the lowest kill participation that game on his team. Deathless, obviously a very good game by him. He won his lane a little bit, but it wasn't on the Bjergsen hard carry. It was on everyone else doing a damn good job of playing that game and getting the team fights they wanted. The hooks, the charms, getting the pickoffs. Definitely a great game by Team Solo Mid. Either way, they have tied up the series. Let's send it over to Dash and the guys on the desk for their thoughts on that game.
Thank you, Freak. And the first thing I want to touch on immediately, I want to look at team compositions because we heard Jat at the beginning of the game talk about how in best of fives, a lot of times, and Zion yesterday on the desk too, stick with what's been working until they beat it.
Yeah.
Well, they do stick with the Nunu here, but they change everything else. And I don't like that. If you are going to change the composition, then you do need to change it so that it is still cohesive in your new direction. I would have much preferred something like Vi, something that's more aggressive so that when you do have the Kennen come all in, the Nautilus ult come all in, somebody's dying.
Yeah, you won. Don't show more of your cards. They first picked the Urgot and they banned their own Sivir on TIP's side. It's like, why don't you just pick the Sivir and do another run at UComp with Shyvana top Smite TP again? Like, that seemed to be a good strat that TSM didn't know how to deal with 100%. Do it again. Like, that was what was really surprising to me. And also the Cassiopeia ban from TIP, like, I would have much rather see that be just subbed out for anything else. Like even the Gragas, just so that Santorin is forced not onto one of those meta tanks. Ban Gragas and Sejuani, and then if you pick Nunu, you're going to out-tank him in the jungle.
Cassiopeia, somewhat of a confusing ban. If you're looking at it solely through the lens of TSM, Bjergsen has played it one time. He did play it pretty well in the regular season, but they did not win off of it. So I am, too, a little bit perplexed by the Cassiopeia ban. Can you explain? Can you give us a little reason behind that, Double Lift?
The only guess I have is from my personal experience playing against TIP, Xiao Xiao's main champion in scrims is TF, and Twisted Fate does pretty poorly in lane against Cassio. That's the only reason that I could possibly give, because, yeah, Bjergsen's only playing it once during the regular season. Seems really concerning that they're essentially throwing one of their bans for a champion they might not be so comfortable on.
Yeah, and it looked like they also, just going back to the team comp thing too, Nunu is not going to blood boil anybody on that comp and find success. You blood boil on Urgot, great. He moves a little faster, right? So one of those picks needs to be subbed out. Rush on something more aggressive, Rek'Sai, or like even Vi, something that he can like synergize with the Nautilus, or you swap out the AD carry and you go with something that can carry the game. You go with a Kog'Maw, you go with a Jinx. Anything would have been a good thing there.
Yeah, and I think critically this game, as I said before, or after game one, I should say, TSM picked a mid lane with a lot of playmaking ability and pressure with Ahri, and you saw TIP forcing a lot of shutdown on that, like trying to take away blue buff, trying to shut down Bjergsen. Really didn't work because Bjergsen just has so much control over mid lane. And then Wildshard on a hypercarry, he didn't actually even play early game very well. He fell far, almost like 30 CS behind, lost his tower. He was playing really poorly in the early game, but because of the nature of the strong champions right now, you can actually play really poorly for the first 15 or 20 minutes and just come back later and right-click people with 700 range. It's really hard to deal with when TIP also changed their strategy without having a challenging smite from a top laner. I mean, they just have no way to deal with a long-range hypercarry.
Yeah, TSM doing a much better job adjusting this time around. And they also punished Rush for his aggression this time. You know, although there was that 2-kill-to-1 trade in the top lane after that, a much better job protecting Santorin's jungle and putting him in a position to have pressure around the map.
Hey, when Santorin told me about he memorizes and visualizes Rush's jungle route, he caught him at the Gromp, was able to get a kill on him there, and that was really big for TSM at the start. And then they kept picking on him, a little over-aggressive there, like you said, but they were keeping Rush down, and then Rush seemed to go into it was kind of tilty mode. Like he was tunnel vision. He was flashing walls. Like
the blood boil
himself, run past everybody to just flash a wall after Bjergsen, who just gets saved. It's like complete tunnel. That's the most aggressive play I've seen from a Nunu.
Yeah. If he were Vi, maybe it would have worked. Maybe he would have killed her.
Maybe it would have.
I think the main thing about players like that is they're not used to being behind. Rush is almost always playing with an advantage. So when he falls behind, there's two different situations I find pro players fall into. It's either they shut down completely or they continue to play as if they're ahead because it's all they know how to do. So Rush, I feel, is one of those players that just continues to play as if he's ahead, regardless of whether or not he's ahead.
Yeah, and it bit them a little bit because TSM was comfortable waiting for the right pick to start a fight. And I do want to bring up our replay 38 minutes in. This is that mid lane team fight. Charm lands on Apollo, and that's TSM's sign for we've taken over this game.
Yeah, as soon as they get Apollo, he's the only physical damage threat here, and Santorin's been stacking magic resistance. He has his Locket, he has his Merc Treads. So then his job, Santorin, is to get into everybody, soak as much damage as possible, and get Xiao out of the fight, try to keep impact as well. So you're going to see him barrel Xiao off to the side after the chompers. He gets no damage on anybody here, and he starts focusing him out. Bjergsen doesn't take any damage from the lay waste, from the defile. Santorin's the only one. He's standing and he's taking no damage there, and he's completely fine.
And then he chases him out afterwards.
Ulted Gragas.
Yeah. It's just insanity. He's still over half health here. Just incredible zoning potential for him. I do like that pick up for him, definitely giving that front line, and as we mentioned, allowing then Bjergsen and Turtle to feel comfortable laying down that damage in the mid to late game.
Yeah, I think you might have to ban the Gragas here instead of the Cassiopeia as TIP, or let the Sivir through first pick it and ban the Gragas, because I feel like if Rush doesn't play it, you need to get as many tanks off the field as possible, so you level it out, and you're just like, all right, Santorin has to play my aggression game, and I'll beat him at it.
This is an interesting point here, Double F, that I want to ping you for, because the teams are staying on these side choices for this third game, right? It altered between games 1 and 2, but it's staying the same for game 3. So Team Impulse doesn't have the benefit of being able to counterpick that mid lane, which is what we've kind of arrived at might be the hinge of this series. What can they do then? You know, if they're going to drop the cast ban to let Zhao Weizhao be in a position to deal with an Ahri, an aggressive Ahri, and a roaming Ahri.
Yeah, I actually thought Zhao Weizhao did actually a decent job this game. He played a global, and that's almost all on the side lanes to make him useful, as well as Twisted Fate, one of his other main champions. It's just really on your side lanes to set up the play for you. And I never really thought of Zhao Weizhao as a real carry of TIP. Yes, he gets really farmed. Yes, he cleans up late game teamfights because he's really farmed, but he's almost never the one making the play himself and initiating. So Zhao Weizhao to me is not a player on TIP that I would like to see get the counter pick. Instead, I'd like to see Impact I guess have a little more impact in this next game instead of just idling in the side lanes on Kennen and not really doing much, as well as Apollo. Urgot with Blood Boil is a really mismatch in synergy, and I didn't see him do anything that game either.
Yeah, and the Karthus pick with the global, he almost had a lot of kills early on when they dove the top turret, but if that Nunu had been a Vi or had been something with more damage early, he would have just snowballed that Karthus very early on. I thought that could have been the game-changing moment very early for TIP.
All right, well, the series is tied 1-1. We definitely have an exciting one on our hands. We're going to take a break while the teams regroup for Game 3 between Team Solo Mid and Team Impulse. Don't touch that browser. The spring playoffs. We'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
Wait, which one? This one?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
Last boy.
Last boy.
Last boy. Last boy, look.
Last boy.
Toss the lantern for Santorin. They're going to go in. They flame back Adrian. Get excited because there's a kill for Wild Turtle.
I have ult at 5. I'm just going to go in these two.
Apollo.
Keep going down. I'm going to ult here.
Holy shit. I'm going top, I'm going top.
Bjergsen fairly low, but Impact gets shut out by the hook, and Adrian will follow as well. It's a 4-kill fight. Lustboy nearly falls down. The Polymorph doing a lot of work, but Apollo gets Santorin. A rocket comes out the back, and Wild Turtle's going to kill as many as he can.
And that's the game. 41 minutes. Team Solo Mid fires back.